Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Easy Way to Learn. I am Shailja Tripathi and today's lecture include transport in human beings. So let's get started, remain focused and follow the lecture. See, the transport in human beings basically comprises of three major components that are helping in transport of food, that is nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide and removal of nitrogenous waste. See, transport basically requires a fluid medium through which transportation takes place, and that fluid is blood. And blood flows in our body through network of blood vessels. So next important component is blood vessels. And to make the blood flow in our body, we need a pumping organ, which is heart. See, blood can flow down the gravity easily, but it has to be pumped against the gravity also. That is to the upper part of the body, that is head, chest region, arm. So blood needs a pumping organ, which is our heart. This is the pump. Blood is fluid connective tissue that you have already studied in your previous class. Then it is a fluid connective tissues made up of two major components, that is the liquid part, which is called plasma, and the cellular part, which basically comprises of blood cells, which are RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Okay, the vessel part consists of two major vessels, that are arteries and veins. Or we may say three: arteries, veins and capillaries. Artery, vein, capillaries. See, as the definition says, artery is a vessel which takes blood away from the heart. So by definition, artery is a vessel or a blood vessel which takes blood away from the heart. And veins are blood vessels which vein is which carry blood towards heart. Okay, what about capillaries? Capillaries are the connective tubes. So these are very thin or just one cell thin blood vessels. One cell thin blood vessels. where diffusion of gases take place. So I'll make this concept a bit clear. Let's see how this networking of blood vessels work in our body. This working is important to understand because that will help you to understand the circulatory system, which we see in a while. Okay. Artery, these are big vessels which are carrying blood from the heart. So blood is coming from the heart, that means blood will be under high pressure. So the walls are very thick to be at the high pressure. So they have thick elastic wall, thick elastic wall to bear high pressure of the blood coming from the heart. Okay, since these are very big vessels, so these big vessels cannot enter the organ. So these arteries start dividing into smaller vessels which are called arterioles. So these are comparatively smaller than artery, or you can write smaller artery. So these are branching from the artery, which are smaller arteries called arterioles. These arterioles when enter, so artery will enter into the organ as arteriole, and inside the organ it will further branch into finer vessels which are one cell thin called capillaries. So it is here that diffusion takes place because these are very delicate and fine. So you can write diffusion of gases take place here. Diffusion of gases, even diffusion of nutrients will also take place. So basically we are, you can write that diffusion of gases or diffusion of nutrients and gases take place here. Then these capillaries again start joining and form venules. And these venules join to form veins. So we must understand arteries are the blood vessels which are bringing blood from the heart, and veins are the vessels which are draining blood or bringing blood to the heart. So this is the complete cycle in which the network works. That heart will pump blood into the artery, artery will take it to the arterioles, arterioles enter the organs, then inside the organ it branches into fine vessels called the capillaries. These capillaries finally join to form venules, venules join to form veins, and then again the veins will carry blood to the heart. Okay. See, I'll draw the diagram also for better understanding. See, these are this is a big vessel, artery. Okay, this will branch into finer vessels called arterioles, and these arterioles will now enter the organ. Inside the organ, I'll take just one arteriole, and let's see, this is the organ. Here the arterioles will further branch into finer vessels. And these finer vessels will again finally join this networking. I'll make it simple. This will be highly branched, so it increases the surface area. So these capillaries start, when they exit the organ, they exit as venules. And these venules finally join to form veins. These are venules. And these venules join to form veins. So blood flows in this way: artery, then arterioles, then diffusion takes place. So the blood flows here. So diffusion of gases is taking place, and finally deoxygenated blood. Once the diffusion has taken place, concentration of oxygen will decrease in the blood, and this blood, deoxygenated blood, will be carried by venules and then out by veins. So this is the networking that is present in our body. So this is not a very good diagram, this is just for understanding. Okay, let's see the structure of heart, or our pumping organ. So before that, we must know where it is located, how it is protected, what is the size of the heart. Heart is a hollow muscular organ located in the thoracic cavity. So you may write down, it is a hollow muscular organ located in the thoracic or chest cavity. Okay, we know our body is divided into thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity by a muscular sheath called diaphragm. Okay, so location, let's write down what is the location. It is present in the center between the two lungs. Write down, it is located in the center between the two lungs and above the diaphragm. So why it is said that our heart is located slightly towards the left? So you must understand that heart is somewhat triangular. So it's this triangular pointed part is slightly towards the left. So this is the left side of the heart. So this pointed end or the left end of the heart is tilted towards the left side. And during the working, this portion of the heart shows maximum contraction, left side. So when the heart is working, we feel this contraction, and that makes us feel that heart is located left side of the body. But it is not so. It is located in the center between the lungs and the diaphragm. So you may write down the narrow end of the roughly triangular heart is pointed to the left side. And during working and during working, contraction is most powerful at this end giving a feeling that heart is on the left side. You may take the screenshot. Okay. Now we'll see how our heart is protected. See, our heart is located inside the thoracic cavity, so it is protected by bony rib cage. Protection. First, it is located, or it is protected by bony rib cage. It's a delicate organ, hence it needs to be protected. Rib cage. Second, it is protected by another layer which is fibrous tissue, which is called pericardium. So pericardium is the protective covering. See, it is protected by double walled membranous covering called pericardium. See, the word peri comes from perimeter. So peri means outermost and cardium word is related to heart. So cardiac, cardium, wherever you encounter these words suggest that we are talking about heart. So the outermost covering of the heart is called pericardium. So it is a double layered, just like this, and it is filled with fluid. So this fluid is called pericardial fluid. So you may write down, it contains pericardial fluid which protects the heart from mechanical injury, and also it protects the heart from friction because the heart is continuously in motion. So it contains pericardial fluid which reduces friction during heartbeat and protects it from mechanical injury. Okay, let's see what is the size of the heart. It is the size of a fist. So heart is very small. So you make your fist and this much is the size of the heart. So size heart is size of our fist. Next we see the structure of heart or anatomy of heart. Anatomy means the structural details of the heart. So human heart, we are studying human heart. So human heart is the most evolved heart and it is 4-chambered. Okay. Anatomy of heart. So you may write few points that it is 4-chambered, or you can write mammals and birds have 4-chambered heart. So, and this is the most evolved form of heart. Rest animals, they may have 2-chambered heart or 3-chambered heart. We'll discuss that after discussing human heart. Okay. So if we see our human heart, this is just the simple version that I am drawing, not the actual one, just schematic diagram. Okay, the upper 2 chambers are called auricles or atria. See, first you must remember, whenever you are studying the heart, so your right will be my left. So this is my left, but this side will be your right. So you may first write down, this is the left side and this is the right side. So this is my left and your right. So you are studying, assume that you are studying heart of a person standing in front of you. So the left and right gets reversed. So the upper 2 chambers that are present, they are called atria. Singular is atrium. It is also called auricle, atria or auricles. So this is right auricle, this is left auricle. And the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. So this is right ventricle, this is left ventricle. So you may write down next point. Upper 2 chambers are called atria. Atria is plural, atrium is singular. And lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. One more important point. The left and right half are separated by a wall. So this is the wall which is separating the left and right half. This wall is called septum. So in human heart or mammalian heart, or in case of birds, there is complete separation of left and right. So make another point. That left and right half left and right halves of the heart is separated by a muscular wall called septum. Okay, this septum wall between two auricles will be inter-auricular septum. Then septum between two ventricles will be interventricular septum. So the whole is septum, but in portions we can say auricular septum and interventricular septum. Okay. See, now I'll draw the diagram of heart to make it more easy to understand. See, first you should draw the ventricles, the lower chamber, that is ventricle. Ventricle, left and right. Okay. The left ventricle is more muscular than right ventricle. The chambers are of same size, but the wall of left ventricle is somewhat thicker than right ventricle. See, this triangular part is the left side, and contraction of this muscular wall gives the feeling that heart is on the left side. So this chamber, these lower chambers, these are ventricles. Left ventricle, right ventricle, this is the muscular wall. Okay. Now let's draw the upper chambers. Now I'll draw the upper chamber, the auricle. See, this muscular wall will run here also, but it will be comparatively thin here. So here we have the left auricle, and this receives blood from these vessels called the pulmonary veins. There are actually 4 pulmonary veins, but in the diagram we show just 2. It is basically, if you feel it is a 3D model, then 2 pulmonary veins will be entering from this side, like this, from the upper side. So there are 4 pulmonary veins. So this is Okay, this is left atrium. Okay, the word pulmonary suggests that it suggests organ is lungs. So pulmonary vein means the veins are the blood vessels which bring blood towards the heart. So these vessels are bringing blood from the lungs to the heart. Okay, we'll draw the right side also. Okay, this is the right chamber. So this is right atrium and it receives blood from largest vein of our body called vena cava. See, this is right ventricle. So the four chambers are these upper two atrium, lower two ventricles. Okay, there is a valve. Valve means a gate for allowing blood to flow from atrium to ventricle. So this is present between atrium and ventricle. So this valve is called interatrioventricular valve, or its another name is bicuspid or mitral valve. See, bicuspid means that it has two cusps or two flaps like this. So it will allow the blood to flow, but it won't allow the backward flow of the blood. It is something like this. The flaps are like this. Similarly, there is also a valve present here. So I'll first mention these vessels. See, this is the big vessel called the aorta, which carries blood from the left ventricle. There is another big vessel called pulmonary artery, which carries blood from the right ventricle. So this is the whole structure, that these are total vessels that are bringing blood are four pulmonary veins, then vena cava. Here I'll mention this is vena cava, which is the largest vein of the body. Then two main blood vessels, or the big vessels which are taking blood away from the heart, are aorta and pulmonary artery. So vena cava is the largest vein. Of our body. Okay, the valve that is present between the left ventricle and the aorta, this is aortic valve. So this one is, I'll write it here, aortic valve. It is also called aortic semilunar valve because it is in the shape of half a moon, somewhat like this. These valves are present 3 in pair, like this. Similarly, the valve that is present between right ventricle and the pulmonary artery will be pulmonary semilunar valve. So this one is pulmonary semilunar valve. So there are 2 semilunar valves. One is aortic valve. Aortic, it is also called aortic semilunar valve. Okay, write it once again. Aortic semilunar valve. See, the valve that is present between right atrium and right ventricle is called tricuspid valve. So this one is tricuspid valve. Tricuspid means it has 3 cusps or flaps. Like these are the flaps. 3 flaps that are present that allows the blood to flow. So this is the bicuspid that is having 2 cusps, and here there are 3 cusps or flaps. So these are the 2 flaps, and one is also present that I cannot show you because I just have 2 hands. So you assume that there is one more cusp present. These semilunar valves are 3 in pair. Both are somewhat like this in shape, pointing upward. These 2 valve interauricular valves are pointing downward. Okay, let's see how blood flows in the heart. See, the left side of the heart is carrying oxygenated blood, which is usually shown by red color. So oxygenated blood is coming from the lungs. Okay. See, this is also appearing black. The oxygenated blood is shown by red color. So pulmonary veins are bringing oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atria or the left atrium. Okay. So now it will enter. Now the blood will be pushed into the left ventricle. From left ventricle, it will move into the aorta, and from the aorta it will go to the whole body part. So pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood to the left atrium. From the left atrium it enters the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle this oxygenated blood is sent to the whole body. Similarly, the right side is shown by blue color because left side is carrying deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood does not mean that it is having no oxygen. Deoxygenated blood means the saturation of oxygen will be less, comparatively less. Oxygenated blood means 100% saturation. That blood is 100% saturated with oxygen. But here the percentage of oxygen will be comparatively less. So blood enters from the lower part of the body and it enters into vena cava. So this part of vena cava, which is bringing blood from the lower part of the body, it is called inferior vena cava or the posterior vena cava. And the blood which is coming from the upper part of the body, that is heart, your brain, chest, arms, shoulder region. So blood coming from the upper part of the body enters the anterior vena cava or the superior vena cava, and both the anterior vena cava and the posterior vena cava both join and enter the right atrium. So it is bringing deoxygenated blood from the whole part of the body and entering the right atrium. From the right atrium, blood will be pumped into the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle it will be pumped into the pulmonary artery. Okay, this pulmonary artery divides into two because it has to enter lungs. So left and right lungs. So these pulmonary artery divide into two and enter the left and right halves of the lungs. The blood enters from the lungs to the left side of the heart. That is, it first enters the left atrium, then into the left ventricle, then it is pumped into the aorta, and then it is carried to all part of the body. And deoxygenated blood from the whole part of the body enters into the right atrium, then it is pushed into the right ventricle, then into the pulmonary artery, and then it is sent to lungs for oxygenation. So this is the structure of the heart and also the circulation which is carrying on. So blood is in circulation, that is what is single circulation, double circulation. We'll talk about it in the next video. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe and share the video. Thank you so much.